Hello, I'm Seerath, and today I'm here to discuss that how can we track various page elements using Google Tag Manager. So let's say that we have a modal on our page, right? And we want to send data to Google Analytics only when that modal appears. Or we have a form on our page and we want to send data only when the form is submitted. So for all these things, we have a thing with us called element visibility, and we are going to use it today. So first of all, let us go and preview our website. Click connect. So this is my website, right? And if I go to the contact us, I have this small form. So if I fill it, if I click submit, I get this confirmation that, okay, my form is submitted, right? It's just a demo, but I have this confirmation. So what if I want to send data to Google Analytics on receiving this confirmation? So for that, we have an option here. If we go to triggers, I have created this trigger, but let's see it in detail. Now, first of all, the type of trigger is different than what we have used. So this says element visibility. So basically, this will be applied when is this particular element is visible on the screen, right? But how will this trigger identify that, okay, we are talking about this element? So for that, we have two options. Either we can give the ID of the element or we can give CSS selector. Now, how can we get the CSS selector? It is very simple. We click inspect. Yeah. From here, we can just right click, copy, copy selector. And now if we go to Google Tag Manager and just paste this, so it just pastes the selector. In this particular case, the selector is very simple because it's just an ID, but generally selectors are very nested because they are from a heavy nesting CSS, and we can write our own selectors if we have our way around CSS. Now, we have the option when to fire this trigger. So this is giving us three options here: once per page, once per element, and every time an element appears on screen. So let's say what's the difference. So this says that if multiple elements on a given page are matched by the ID or CSS selector, this trigger will only fire for the first time one of them is visible on the page. So once per view event, that's what this is, only once per a view event. Now we have once per element. This says that if multiple elements on a given page are matched, this will fire the first time each one of them is visible. So if we have like many elements with the same thing, it will fire each time one of them is visible. Then Yeah, then it says that every time an element appears on the screen, so each time the element shows up on the screen, this trigger will fire. So for this submit case, we just need it once per page, right? Now, if we scroll down, we have some advanced settings. So this says that minimum percent visible. So what does that mean? Okay, right now, this is 100% visible if I'm here. But if I scrolled up, this is not visible at all. So this visibility only talks about what is currently on the screen and not what is on the page. If it is visible to our eyes, then only in this particular case, we consider this visible. Like if I cross this, then this is 100% visible because this is there on the screen, right? So we want this to be 100%, that we want it to be completely visible for the trigger to fire. Then we have two more options like set minimum time on screen. If we want that the element should stay on the screen for some time before the trigger is fired, then we can select this option and input the number of milliseconds here. But we don't want that in this case. We have another option, observe DOM changes. So basically, when we click submit, some things in the DOM tree changed, right? We saw a new element. So this basically tells the Google Tag Manager that, okay, observe any changes on the DOM and function accordingly. Now we have this trigger fires on all the visibility events or some visibility events. We will click all here, but if we want, we can go here, select the page URL and any such thing and filter it accordingly. Now, we have named this as EV form submitted, element visibility for EV and form submitted, right? So we will hit save. Now, if we come to tags, yeah. So here we have a GA4 form submit. So what is the detail here? The tag type is GA4 analytics. We have GA4 analytics, GA4 event. We have selected it from here. Then we have the configuration as GA4 tag. We created this earlier. Then the event name is contact form. Very simple. And then we have selected our trigger as EV form submitted. We just created this, right? So we will hit save here and cross this and then go to preview to see whether this is actually working or not. Okay, it's connected. Now, let's select our container. Go here, go to the contact form. And now we fill out the details. Okay, click submit. It's submitted. Let's go here and check. Yes, we do have an element visibility event here, right? If we click this, we see that, okay, GA4 form submit tag that we just created was fired here. We click it, okay, event name is contact form and all the things look good. Now, if you go back and see the variables, so yeah, it is displaying all the things like form element, form ID, and form text, form URL is not there, then all these things are visible to us, right? Now, let's say that we don't fill this form, but instead just submit it, right? So we have these errors. Now, what if we want to send data to Google Analytics on these errors? We can do that. It's very simple and very similar to something that we have already done. We just go to inspect, right? And hover over this element and right click, copy, copy selector. Now we go back to our Google Tag Manager again, go to the triggers, and here we have this form error trigger that we created. Now here the configuration is same, event visibility, because we want to control it when the element become visible. The configuration is of type element visibility, and then we have a CSS selector, and here we are again pasting the selector that we copied from here, right clicking, copy CSS selector. Then we want to fire this particular tag every time an element appear on the screen, because error information can appear a lot more number of times, right? Now 100% visibility. And we want this to observe the DOM changes as well, right? So we have saved this as EV form error. Now let's go and create a respective tag for it. Here I have GA4 form error tag. So this also have the configuration of GA4 event and the tag type of GA4 event, and the configuration tag is GA4 and the event name is form error. Now the trigger is EV form error, which we set up. So pretty easy. Tag type GA4 event. The configuration is GA4 tag. We have event name as form error and then the trigger. I have named this as GA4 form error. So let's go to preview and test this. Okay, it's connected. Now let's go here. Let's just inspect. Let's go to contact us and let's click submit again. Now we go here, element visibility, and yes, GA4 form error tag is fired, right? It's done. So this is how we can monitor a particular event on our website, like the visibility of an element. So we monitored the visibility and then we created a trigger for it, created the tag for it, and then we can send the data to Google Analytics. We can also monitor the visibility of any element, let's say this photograph or any such thing on our website using the element visibility. We just simply need to get the CSS selector for it, and then we can do the further process, the same thing that we did just now with both of these elements. So this is how we can track various page elements. Thank you.